Welcome back to Thimbleberry U. I am John Jagay. I'm joined again by Amy Walls from Thimbleberry Financial. Always a pleasure to be with you, Amy.
Jag, I always enjoy talking to you.
And we're talking about another specialized situation for some of your clients that might work in the tech sector or other areas in total. But we're talking about tender offers today. What is a tender offer?
Yeah, Jag, a tender offer is an offer to buy back shares of a particular holding. This can happen definitely for our clients in the tech sector. Sometimes it just happens for clients that are holding another asset also. So when a tender offer comes in, basically the buyer is saying, hey, you own X, Y, and Z, and we want to buy X, Y, and Z. And so we're willing to give you this price for it. Now, the buyer may actually be X, Y, and Z itself trying to buy back their own shares, or the buyer may be an entirely different company trying to buy back those shares. With these offers, and knowing that we were going to talk about this, I always am curious, what does like Investopedia say?
Yeah.
And they talk about tender offers being made at a premium to the current share price.
Right, because you want to incentivize those stockholders to sell those holdings.
Yes. But most often when I've seen these in my 18 years as an advisor, I have seen them at a discount or at the current stock price. Seeing them at a premium has actually been more rare.
And your career is now old enough to vote, so I'm going to defer to your experience on that one.
Oh my gosh, Jag, you just made me feel old.
Well, you started when you were 10, right?
There we go.
Okay, how does this whole process work as far as a shareholder receiving one of these tender offers?
Well, I know, in prior podcasts, we always talk about how things are moving forward and it's a new world. Well, we're going to go old fashioned on this, and it's almost always snail mail.
Okay.
Where I have seen the exception to that is an employer is making a tender offer to an employee, and they notify them over email that, hey, you have a new equity compensation grant. They will email them to say, oh, we're willing to buy these shares.
Okay.
But generally, it's old-fashioned mail. You open it up, and it's going to explain the details of this company wants to buy these shares that you are an owner of record, and this is the price that they're willing to give you. And then it will have some instructions for how to go about executing and agreeing to the tender offer.
Okay, so that's the how. Let's cover the why. Why would a company come in and want to buy my shares of stock? What are they expecting?
Let's start first with a publicly traded company that's trying to buy back its own shares. It may be trying to regain a larger equity position. Okay, that may be beneficial for the company. And this is where you might see more of the offer that's issued at a premium.
Okay.
Above the share price. If it's an outside company, it may simply be that they're trying to increase their equity holdings in the company. So think takeover with that. But in either case, here's an important thing to note. That company that is offering to buy the shares is expecting that the stock price will be higher in the future, because they didn't go into this saying, hey, let me buy your shares out here because we think the stock price is going to fall.
Nobody's going into this trying to lose money. They're anticipating that if they make you an offer you can't refuse, to paraphrase a movie, that they're going to end up gaining more later because the price is going to go up.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, when these come up, what I hear most often is, hey, I got this offer. This is cool for me because of X, Y, and Z. And they're written in such a way that it's all about what the shareholder can get out of it. And the piece that gets forgotten is, but what's their incentive to do this?
Right. They wouldn't be just doing it out of the goodness of their own heart. As a quick aside, I don't know if you've seen the show, but my wife and I are binging Succession on HBO. We just finished the first season of it.
I have not seen it.
Not kid-friendly at all, so there's your disclaimer. But it's essentially about this big media company and the dad, and he's got the 4 kids, and they're kind of vying to take control of the company as the dad's getting older, and it's pretty cutthroat, and it's really interesting. And some of this reminds me of what happened toward the end of season 1, but I won't put any spoilers out there for anybody. But if you like business and this kind of like takeover, stock price stuff. It's really interesting.
See, and I can't get my 5-year-old or my 13-year-old to want to do anything with Thimbleberry. There's no takeovers there that will be happening between them.
They won't sneak in when you're trying to watch this show, which would be a bad situation. So good. When these stock prices come in, Amy, you've talked about, obviously, the buyer or potential buyer has a motivation for making the offer. Is the price they're offering fair to you as the employee?
That's a tough question, Jag, and I'm going to go back to that answer that we, know that I like so much. And
here, I'm going to say it for you. It depends.
Absolutely. It depends. The offer could be at a premium at the current price or at a discount to the current price. It is hard to know. Obviously, they think it's fair, but they're also counting on the fact that there will be an emotional response to the offer. And that's most often when I get questions about this, it's someone's had the emotional, ooh, here's what this can do for me, but the logical side hasn't kicked in. So is it fair? Maybe. I think tender offers, though, need to be determined if they're valuable to a person individually. So let's talk about in a situation where maybe the asset's illiquid and it's at a discount.
Amy, let me stop you there for a second. What do you mean by illiquid?
So it's not shares that can just be sold on the market.
Okay.
They're privately held. So in that case, I often see the offer being at a discount. And what they're counting on is that the shareholder is tired of holding these shares and really wants out for some reason and hasn't been able to get out. And so, maybe it's valued at $10 a share and the offer is at $3.57 a share. They're hoping that the investor just says, yeah, I'm done.
I may have mentioned this previously on the show, but I once had a mentor back in my radio career who told me that people make decisions on emotion and find facts to justify them later. People don't make decisions based on facts. They base them on emotion and then justify it with facts later. And it sounds like that's what some of these folks are banking on when they make this kind of offer.
Absolutely. And that is absolutely how we make decisions. This whole psychology of that's, I can't speak to, but it's very interesting. Another example would be an employee that gets an offer to buy up shares that came from vested RSUs. Okay. These might be at the current price, but the benefit there, again, this is illiquid. The company hasn't gone public, so there's not a way for them to sell them. So in this situation, perhaps the question to the investor or the employee would be, is there a dollar figure that you might be able to realize? Because let's say they have a lot of equity compensation, that to you, this says that's worthwhile.
Okay.
I could do that and no longer need to work.
That
might be worthwhile versus someone else. If I do this, it's only going to get me a dent. It's only going to get me so far in this long path that I have. So it's not worthwhile. So it's the same price, but different people with different goals make it so that that answer is going to be different.
Right. I mean, obviously, if they're making the offer, there is an advantage to the person making the entity making the offer to you. They have a reason for doing it. But as to whether or not it's a win-win and you should take advantage of that tender offer, again, it's really going to depend on your individual situation, your timeline, what you need, stuff like that. So this is why you talk to somebody like Amy Walls at Thimbleberry Financial, who can assess your individual situation. Because when you come in with a specific situation, that answer, Amy, is no longer, it depends, right?
That is true. We take some time to evaluate it, understand the goals, and then we will have one or a couple of possible recommendations.
Right. It is going to depend on your individual situation. And if you want to come talk to Amy Walls and her expanding team at Thimbleberry Financial, what are the best ways to find you?
Give us a call at 503-610-6510 or reach us online at thimbleberryfinancial.com.
Great stuff, Amy. We'll talk again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jag.
Registered representative. Securities offered through Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisor representative. Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Thimbleberry Financial are not affiliated.